Hello, welcome to the fifth installment of my series on William of Ockham, Summa Logicae. Today we're going over Chapter 5, which is called On Concrete and Abstract Names That Are Not Synonymous. So first here we're going to have just some examples of what concrete and abstract terms look like. So justice, whiteness, animal, animality. So you'll notice that in the first column, all of these things refer to a single person or thing, or object. Like it's just one thing. That's why it's concrete. And then abstract terms are referring to the general idea which applies to multiple things. So you can have a just person, and that would be a person who possesses the property justice. Okay, so first, a difference between these two types of terms, concrete and abstract. So these are going to be non-synonymous terms, a way that the concrete terms can be used, where you cannot interchangeably use the abstract terms. So the just are virtuous. That makes sense. That would be saying just people are virtuous. But it would make absolutely no sense to say the justice are virtuous, because that would be just talking about the property. Now, in the first sentence, the just refers to specific people who have the property of justice. But in the second, it only refers to the property. So you aren't going to get the same reference when you use the abstract term rather than the concrete term. This is just a difference between a property and the class of things that possess the property. The grass is green. The grass is greenness. That makes no sense. Now, there are three modes of concrete and abstract terms, which are non-synonymous. The first one is when the concrete term is a property of a subject. So this would be the difference between a white person and whiteness in abstract, or a white piece of paper and whiteness in abstract, a human and humanity in the abstract, and a material thing and materiality. This one is pretty intuitive, pretty easy. So I'm going to just go on to mode number 2, which is a concrete thing that signifies a part of a subject, while the abstract thing signifies the thing possessing a part. So this would be the difference between a soul and an ensouled thing, or white and a white thing. So when you look at a piece of paper, there's this property that it has, which is white. That white is a part of the paper, but you could also have an abstract term, which is the white thing, or white things, which would encompass the entire object, just by designating it as an object possessing this specific property, or matter to a material thing. Then the third mode is when there isn't any similarity, that there isn't going to be any similarity between the concrete and the abstract object. This is going to be related as cause to effect, or occasionally related to a location. So when you say this is a human project, you're not saying that, like, the project of, I don't know, say ending poverty is a project that is, like, I don't know, like made up of human body parts or something. It's largely like a technological project that you're working on there, but it's something that's done by humans. The same could be said of, like, going to outer space. Like, going to outer space is a human project, but there isn't anything like that is similar between this abstract term and the concrete instance of what it means to be a human project. Then for location, An American house. There isn't like a property of Americanness. It's just being in America that makes a house American, or being in England, which makes a house English. So that will be the third mode of concrete and abstract names. And then finally, just a little note that Occam adds at the end of the chapter. Concrete and abstract terms can function in any of these three modes simultaneously because they are not mutually exclusive. So when you think of the white paper, you could be talking about it in terms of mode 1, where white is a property of the subject, and mode 2, where white is a concrete part of the subject. So in this sentence, white functions in the concrete, in modes 1 and 2 of the concrete term. And then finally, Occam notes that the same term can function as concrete in one in one mode, and as abstract in a different mode. Yeah, and that's going to be all we have for this episode.